So this blog today came about as a result of being invited, my invitation that I received to be a guest on a radio station, a local radio station in Cambridge here in the UK. The subject was and is, as you've seen in the header, about how can we maintain a sense of proportion and perspective in today's mixed up world full of the news reports of violence, of catastrophe, of disasters. Let's face it, most often the news is that we are faced with, that we can see on our devices, on our tablets, on our computers and TV and radio, is predominantly negative, which is a shame. I'd like to see an even better growth in positive news reporting. But the fact is news and it sells. And so we get to decide really how much that we're exposed to that. And that's particularly important if we're more of a sensitive nature, if we are affected by negative energies. It's important that maybe we consider news fasting. And that doesn't mean turning off the news and never knowing what's going on. That doesn't mean becoming a hermit, living in a cave and ignoring the world. That's just avoidance. But maybe we can turn the news on in the morning, maybe last thing at night, and make sure that any emotions that arise as a result of the news reporting are dealt with at the time, but that we're not absorbing the information on a minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour, day-to-day basis. Because let's face it, most often that news isn't great. And the problem is eventually we're going to start believing that the world is a dreadful place because that's all we're being exposed to. And yet that's simply not the case, is it? The world has many fantastic attributes. You know, the quote I mentioned in this blog and I did on the radio show in Cambridge 105 this morning was, you know, where there are disasters, look for helpers. There are always helpers. And similarly, there are always positives to be taken out of the dark stuff. But we have to manage our emotions. We have to manage our perspectives. So this is a brief introduction to today's blog. And for those of you who heard me on the radio, it gives you an opportunity to see who was coming out with this stuff. Thanks very much for reading. I look forward to your comments.